twin-turbo V8 that can run 0 to 100 kilometres an hour in under 5 seconds? Sounds like a supercar, right? I've got another number for you. 7. 7 seats. But does Audi's super SUV suffer from a bit of an identity crisis? Or do its two main factors of power and practicality come together to create a well-rounded machine? This is the 2017 Audi SQ7 and it holds the title of being the most powerful diesel SUV in the world. It's a rolling catalogue of all the latest and greatest technology that Audi has at their disposal, and yet it's still practical enough to do the school run, because quite frankly, that's where you're most likely to see one. Back here, it's the same as a regular Q7. There's 235 litres of space with all 7 seats up. That expands to about 900 as a 5-seater, all the way up to 1890 litres with everything folded flat. You can raise and lower the boot load height here thanks to the air suspension. And the third row seats are power operated, which makes going from 5 to 7 on the hop really convenient. Which, by the way, if you are doing that and need somewhere to store your cargo blind, you're going to have to leave it out here because there's nowhere to fit it in there. Under the boot floor, there's no extra storage or even a spare tyre. There's an amplifier and subwoofer for the 19-speaker Bose sound system. Well, there's plenty of room back here. I have lots of toe, knee and headroom, and I'm 6'4". You sit sort of on the outside of the bench, which is great when you're sitting 3 abreast. And each of the seats can recline, fold and slide on rails to help you configure the interior. There's dual zone climate control, a pair of accessory outlets, even an armrest with a cup holder. What's more, each of the seats here, the 3 in the middle and the 2 back there, all have Isofix mounting points, which is terrific if you've got a growing family. Let's check out the third row. Right, well that's better. As you can see, it's a bit cosy back here for 6'4" adults, but my 7-year-old daughters had no problems. The seats are comfy, you get cup holders, air vents and map lights. But enough about all of that. Let's get up to the front, where all the fun stuff is. Well, Audi have gone full house with the technology in the SQ7. Up here in the centre of the dash is an 8.3-inch high-resolution display. Now that handles all of your infotainment, which includes Apple CarPlay, navigation with Google Maps overlays, which is pretty cool, and of course all of your infotainment. Now this is controlled by the MMI touchpad interface here, which has got proper handwriting recognition. Now I have to say, as a right-hander, doing everything with my left hand, all the numbers end up backwards, so it takes a bit of getting used to. In front of the driver though is the 12.3-inch virtual cockpit, which has everything from your onboard instrumentation and driving data through to an optional full screen of navigation overlay. It's pretty cool. But look, it'd probably take us all day to go through every little piece of technology here in the SQ7, so why don't we hit the road and see what this thing can really do. Let's get to the basics first. The SQ7 costs around $150,000 here in Australia. This car has about $25,000 worth of options on it that arguably probably should have been included in the first place. Now don't get me wrong, you're not actually wanting for anything on this car. It basically has, well, everything bar a flux capacitor, but there's some trim elements and things like that that you really would have expected to be perhaps a little bit more premium for a range-topping SUV. The aluminium trim on the dash is really nice, but there's no stitched leather dash and the painted plastic down here looks a little bit cheap. You can of course option in the stitched dash, option in some carbon fibre there, but that means your options list is going to push the price of this car to well over $200,000. That said, you are treated pretty well in the SQ7. All the safety systems are here. You've got blind spot monitoring, forward collision assistance, an adaptive cruise control and even traffic queuing where the car will steer for you and even turn the engine on after it notices the car in front moving off. Now driving around at urban speeds isn't really putting the big V8 to the test. It's pretty easy, it's pretty relaxed, it's pretty tractable, and even the ride on the big 21-inch wheels is relatively comfortable. So to get an idea of the level of performance that the SQ7 offers, we've headed here to a freeway on-ramp, which is kind of the last frontier of driving enjoyment. And well, to see what a twin-turbo V8 with 900 Newton meters feels like, you can do this. So that 4-litre twin-turbo V8 under the bonnet of the SQ7 has 320 kilowatts or around 430 horsepower, But more impressively, there's 900 Newton meters of torque available from just 1,000 RPM. What that means is the response is almost instantaneous. To achieve this, Audi have employed an electrically operated compressor in the turbochargers, and what that means is that it will spool up instantly while it waits for the exhaust gases and boost pressure to build. So there's no traditional turbo lag in the SQ7, and it really is a light switch of response. This car, it'll return around 7 litres per 100 on a combined cycle, and for this amount of power, that's pretty impressive. And fun. Now, while barreling along in a straight line is plenty of fun, the SQ7's got some pretty impressive tricks even further up its sleeve that really need a windy road to understand the best. The four-wheel steering is really convenient, especially in a car of this size. At low speeds, it turns the back wheels the opposite direction to the front wheels to give you a lot more manoeuvring capability in car parks or other tight places. At higher speeds, the rear wheels turn the same direction as the front to give the car much more stability. When all of these dynamic systems and that amazing engine work in concert, you get a car that, well, it kind of defies physics. It doesn't feel like a 2.5-ton, 7-seater luxury family wagon. It feels like a bit of a dash-about Sportster, and that's very impressive. So the way that the SQ7 behaves, particularly at lower speeds, feeling a little bit urgent, a little bit jerky, it's almost too much car for that day-to-day running around. So unless you're driving beautiful, sweeping, open mountain roads at 100 kilometres an hour every day on your commute, perhaps a regular Q7 would be the better car. In terms of delivering on the expectation of the numbers we spoke about earlier in this clip, the 2017 Audi SQ7 delivers like a brick through a window. But where the regular Q7 has earned a reputation for being refined, quiet, luxurious transport, especially around town, the sheer power of the SQ7 seems to have lost some of that messaging along the way. Plus, it's disappointing to know just how many option boxes you have to tick to turn that into the car it really should have been in the first place. That said, the sheer ballistic performance and dynamic ability of the Audi SQ7 can hopefully set a new benchmark for what can be expected from SUVs moving forward.